Hello, everyone. I'm Allen Liedkie from Steps. I am the head of our business development within the US, and I am joined today by a wonderful person I had the opportunity to partner with over the past several months, Sam Lalanne from Morgan Stanley in North America. Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Alan, thank you so much for having me on today, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. I am a managing director within Human Resources Division at Morgan Stanley, specifically covering our diversity inclusion efforts for one of Morgan Stanley's primary businesses here in New York.
Sam and I had the opportunity to partner with members of the team within Steps and also members within his team to look at how we could develop in partnership some inclusive leadership content. But before we kind of get into that, Sam, I just want to kind of explore what were the big challenges that the pandemic presented to you all in your part of the business at Morgan Stanley?
Thinking back to the beginning of 2020, in my role, it's very much focused on beginning of the year, setting a strategy for what we want to focus on across the D&I landscape, which includes training, development opportunities for all of our talent at all levels. One of the primary focus areas was inclusive leadership. But prior to the pandemic, that was establishing an inclusive leadership set of sessions to be able to reach our audience in an in-person format. So with the pandemic, we had to quickly pivot and look for options, a product, a set of sessions that could best accommodate our employee workforce in the division that I cover in a virtual environment. So pivoting from an in-person, instructor-led, facilitated type of a session to a virtual environment was part of the challenges, along with a myriad of other concerns and challenges that everyone has dealt with across society with the pandemic.
So, just going down that route of that virtual offering in terms of what we partnered and how we worked with you on that, Sam, do you want to share a little bit from your perspective, that journey that we took together?
Sure. And maybe if I could just take a step back before we talk about our partnership, part of the conversation that we had to have internally was about, is this the type of a program that we would want to run in a virtual environment, or should we just wait? All right. And now, hindsight 2020, it's good that we didn't wait because obviously the pandemic has carried on for a number of months, and this would have been a missed opportunity. So as we explored options in our partnership, Alan, with Steps, it was asking those questions. How can Steps product, a tailored drama-based format, be transitioned or translated into a virtual environment? Would it have the same input? Will it have the same quality? Will it keep our employees in attendance as engaged as in previous in-person type sessions? Those are the questions that we asked early on, and as a result of this great partnership, we were able to get a very clear understanding of what it would look like. But what I appreciated in terms of those early days and having the discussions with you and the rest of the team, Alan, is a couple of opportunities that we had. One, we were able to actually watch a demo, a virtual demo that helped us to picture and identify how the work would be translated in that type of a format. On my end, I made sure that I involved and included senior stakeholders that would have a perspective, that are tough judges and tough critics, that have been around, some that have been around the space in terms of previous inclusive leadership sessions, and those that have not, to get a well-balanced approach to be able to watch that demo. That then informed our decision to move forward with this virtual format, but that's not where it ended with our partnership. Another aspect that I really enjoyed that was really beneficial for us was the ability to discuss in detail the process for customizing a script and approach that would resonate with our audience. So what does that mean? So the due diligence process before actually launching a session was filled with a lot of internal conversations here, as well as with Steps, interview process and meeting with different employees at various levels across the organization, hearing their stories, hearing the language that they use, the challenges, the the interesting insights, the scenarios, the anecdotes, and then using that to build a tailored session, which we then reviewed with a subcommittee within the firm to then be able to sign off on. That took a few weeks, but it was really important to have that learning, because we were able to get very comfortable not only with the virtual session, but with the quality of the tailored approach that would fit our needs, especially given the year that we were in the midst of. And then finally, I guess the last point that I would make here is that led into doing 2 pilots early fall of last year that we were able to, again, test it out, understand where we had some opportunities to make some minor adjustments, and then actually execute on those minor adjustments to be able to run a full set of programs, a set of sessions that we could benefit from.
It's interesting reflecting on the journey through your lens and taking me back to the time and, throughout the fall of, that design process. What really stood out for me was, your clear vision was really helpful in terms of really helping us pinpoint the kind of needs to help you achieve the goals that you wanted to achieve within the session. So, I really valued that partnership and that collaboration that you all brought to the table, and the time and investment, right? It wasn't, I hope we didn't take up too much of your time, but there was enough, obviously, investment and care from y'all's side that, you really brought that to the conversation as well. So it definitely felt like a really good collaboration and partnership from my perspective.
One example, maybe if I could just jump in there, I think it is relevant here is the fact that this department that we've covered these sessions with, it's a large division within Morgan Stanley, but it's made up of smaller departments. Each department has its own set of needs, its own set of challenges, its own profile, if you will, of the workforce. So as part of that process, as you just described, Alan, it was making sure that we had the perspectives of individuals from each of those subdivisions or departments to be able to inform a more collective view in terms of what those needs would be at a larger perspective. So that was beneficial, and it was very helpful to talk through those differences to make sure that we are solving for all the needs of our collective workforce within the division that we're talking about here.
And so we've finished the round of deliveries with you all. Just if you don't mind sharing just some of the feedback, high level feedback from participants that they've been able to feedback to you all. Is there anything you'd like to share from that perspective?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think the work that we just described in terms of setting a customized, tailored framework for our business, our language, the way we go about conducting our business really resonated with this audience. So one of the feedback that we had is this, although the sessions leverage a fictitious firm, it felt real. It felt close to Morgan Stanley, which is really important. So that was one piece of feedback. Number two, the actors, the quality of the actors executing the drama was spot on, and we had a lot of positive, very, very strong feedback on the quality of the actors. Number three really is the structure and the sequencing of the session. Starting off and getting right into it, right? Not a delay, going right into the material. It retains the engagement from the audience right from the very beginning all the way through. Leveraging this video conferencing format, this virtual environment, one of the benefits that we had, which probably is better in a virtual environment than we ever would have imagined compared to an in-person environment, is the ability to go into breakout rooms, to discuss with a smaller cohort, and then to really deliberate on what they had just seen in the main room in terms of the scene that was sequenced, and then to be able to go back and debrief on it. They love that. And then another positive, and the last one I'll make here, just in interest of time, is the hot seating. our employees and really enjoy the ability to put the actors on the hot seat in giving them guidance and insight into what they did wrong, where they had provide some constructive feedback. And not only do they like that dynamic, which one is very engaging and could be a little fun, but also it gives the employees, the peers, to hear from their peers about what they saw. And what you appreciate is twofold. One is, as an employee, hearing your peers talk about these things in a very real way with constructive feedback about what they would do differently is really impactful. And then separately, it also identified some differences of opinion that could then be discussed in that format, which we had as well. So when you think about the output, what are the practical next steps that we can take? That's been built in through the session, not just from the facilitators and the actors, but also the dialogue that is encouraged throughout the session.
And I had the privilege of delivering a couple of sessions from a facilitator's point of view and from an actor facilitator's point of view. And in the few sessions that I was part of, at the end, as we were encouraging the participants to reflect about, what could they be doing differently, it was really brought up to people's mind that, being inclusive doesn't necessarily have to be this big shift in behavior. It can actually just be the little things that you do on a daily basis that, really help people feel included, especially in this virtual environment. So, it was some good takeaways, not only for me, but I think for the participants as well that, that I've tried to put into practice afterwards. And I hope that they are able to do so as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that.
So looking ahead to the future, do you think there's still a place for the virtual offering?
Honestly, I think so. I would love to keep some level of virtual engagement possible. One, fiscally, it makes sense. Our ability to get to scale for size, talking about Morgan Stanley is a 70,000 person organization. It would be really meaningful to be able to run multiple sessions. I'm not sure if we could have gone through 410 managing directors in a 5-month period, really 3 months, if you think about it. We took a break. I don't think we would have been able to do that. And also, I don't think our attendance would have been as high as it was if a managing director was 5 minutes late. They might have just said, you know what, I'm not going to make it today, and then not shown up. Where, although it's not perfect, we had a lot of our MDs that were 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late and still were able to attend the remaining part of the session. I don't think that would have happened in an in-person format.
Well, Sam, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on the journey we've been on together. And again, thanks for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. I look forward to working with you again in the future, and I can't wait to see how the sessions have had a positive impact for you all and you're part of the business at Morgan Stanley.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks for having me on today, and thank you for your continued partnership on behalf of the STEPS Drama organization. We look forward to more in the coming months.